My name is Tim Jenkins. I'm the Digital Hub Coordinator for Strabane Community Unemployed Group. I'm here to do some podcast recordings with Pauline, with Carmel, and with Chris. We've just done a podcast with the ladies over the last couple of weeks. We've introduced podcasting as to what it is and what podcasting is about. We've looked at some of the topics around podcasting and what you can do with it. We listened to a couple of stories. We listened to a couple of reminiscence, and we're just going to tie it all together now with a wee quick interview with the main people who have been involved with the group.
My name's Pauline. I'm the Friendly Co-ordinator for Derry and Strabane Council. Part of my remit is to bridge the digital connectivity for older people. So when I seen it, I contacted Chris then, and I thought it was good then to try and bridge together and have the ladies have an experience of using digital technology and podcasting and that. So I think they've really kind of took to
like Dr. Water.
Dr. Water to it.
Exactly.
So no, I think they're really enjoying it.
Yeah. And Carmel's here as a representative from the group.
Yeah, Carmel Farrell, a member of the Stay Young group that meets here in Strabane District Caring Services every Thursday morning.
Excellent. And Carol, you were very good as well too with your introductions. Radio 1 DJ sort of kind of intro, which is great.
Showing off.
It's showing off.
That's all.
and as Chris had pointed out, with your posh voice.
I didn't even realise I was doing a posh voice.
You see?
Is this one posh now?
See, that's
oh dear.
It's good.
Oh dear.
It's your Radio 4 voice, you see.
Oh, okay.
That's what happens when people get headphones on and they get a mic. It's sounds all posh.
You just sound different.
Not just the ones from the Curly Hill before somebody says it. Exactly. Chris.
And I'm Chris McDaid. I'm the Community Engagement Officer here at Strabane District Caring Services and also the NIP Health Officer for Strabane. I look after the group here, kind of look after their day-to-day activities and stuff. And this is a piece of work that I've kind of been advocating for a while now. I think some of the stories, some of the conversations that we have here every Thursday are remarkable and it needs to be documented. So delighted to have you here, delighted that the ladies are willing to take part in it, and I hope we can carry on and do a wee bit more in the future.
Yep, excellent. Well, as for our role in it, since Strabane Community Unemployed Group, we're lottery funded. I'm on a lottery funded project that's 5 years. We're into year 3 is just finishing up. We're going into year 4. It's taken a while for us to sort of kind of get contact with groups, to sort of kind of to sort of build up partnerships and things like that. So now that we've done this once, and we know now that introduction sessions have been done, and a little tiny bit of training, that in the future what would be great would be we could simply hand the equipment over as well too, so that whenever, not just this group but other groups connected with anything that you're all doing, then we can just facilitate that. So what we would really like would be to have more engagement with locals, so that, as I say, the equipment that we have is there. Whether they, in a perfect world, people would come to us, we'd have the equipment set up, they would sit down and they would do their bit and pieces, or we could loan it out. Now that might not happen, but in a perfect world, that's what we would do. So, could you see any need for this in the future in other places, Pauline?
Oh, definitely. I think it's embracing. I think, older people have so much to give, and I think, it's them embracing, the digital technology. So I think we could definitely roll it out in other community groups.
And this group in particular, we have people here a couple of them who are still under 60, but we have one who's just turned 90 this year, and the information that they have
and the sharp as a tack
is absolutely invaluable. It's fantastic. And just a wee prompt here and there to get them to talk about a certain thing that we have probably heard them talking about before in the group, but to do it so that you can record it, it's been just fantastic.
Well, as I said, we've sort of kind of two or three at least purposes of doing the podcast that we do ourselves is that we also want to have a digital archive. Now, we may or may not use the digital archive here and now for something to podcast in the future, but at least if we have the recordings done, then somebody else can use them in the future. Like I was connected to the college in WRC for years, and one of the things they did was they interviewed, as part of a summer project, they interviewed people who started the credit union in Derry. And it was really, really interesting for somebody who knew nothing about it. Just as people sitting down telling stories about why it was so beneficial to the community. Stories then from the community as well, too, stories from those who actually got involved from day one. So, and again, that was one wee tiny corner of community work in Derry that is still up and running, and now has become like a big, massive, obviously, organisation. So again, it's to get sort of kind of stories like that, sort of pulling together, because that's what community is all about. So.
They've just taken on mortgages recently
exactly.
as well.
Yeah, exactly. So they're massive steps.
Yeah.
And again, one of the stories the guy was telling was about how there was a lady who, her husband had left her, gone off to work, whatever, and then they had sort of obviously parted their ways. He came back not well. She then took on his care, but she needed help. She needed money to pay. she applied for a loan, she didn't get it, but then one of the guys who was the directors took a loan himself to give it to the lady, and then she paid him back every single week. You know, so it's again stories like that that you just sort of kind of wouldn't. I think now.
But I think the digital format's more important because moving forward, young people in particular are more likely to access audio files and they already sit down and read the
absolutely.
document. So this is chronicling local history and
Yeah.
the stories of families and the stories of areas. So brilliant.
And one of the things as well too, whenever you are young, you don't necessarily understand these things, or sort of kind of they don't settle in any way, sort of kind of on your periphery of what's important about local. Then whenever you talk to somebody, they say, "Oh, but you thought that place used to be called Puddle Alley," and you go, "Why is it called Puddle Alley?" You know, and then these sort of local names.
And there's the generation to come now would never have heard tell of Puddle Alley.
Yeah.
You have to be like 50 plus to have heard tell of
Where's
Puddle Alley and some of those other names.
Puddle Alley.
Where is it? It's
Spot the girl from
near
Park.
You know where St Pat's Hall is?
yes.
That's Puddle Alley.
All right.
Aye.
But not only areas, the lifestyle that we talked about earlier, you know,
Oh, it's about the rations and
mangles
stuff and, yeah.
rations
Yeah.
and the way people lived, like
The smuggling.
it's all a lot of it's new to me. So, you know, in 20 years' time, what are we going to be talking about?
And some time ago, Chris arranged for us to do a tour of the chapel in Strabane. Mary Boner and Co had applied for lottery funding and they did tours and they were amazing. But the information that she got from some of the people in
Yeah,
our
exactly.
group was
Yeah.
unbelievable.
She was able to add her
Yeah,
own.
and some of the stuff then was donated to the museum
Oh, great.
as well.
Yeah,
Aye,
yeah.
they had. Patricia had an altar boy's outfit from 80 years ago.
Yeah, keepers.
Give it to the
You,
museum.
you were discussing what earlier on about the term bridge end.
Uh-huh.
I'm from the town side, so like the bridge end is anywhere on the other side of the bridge.
Oh, right, yeah. Well, it's actually from King's Corner. You know where King's
Now I'm
House
going to have
is?
to ask where King's Corner is.
You know, just as you're going to turn up left up the Balcoma Lane, that house there on the corners, it was known as King's Corner. So it's from there down to the end of the bridge here.
Is bridge end.
That's
And-
Bridge
and
End.
why was it called King's Corner?
The house belonged to the King family.
We thought maybe the king lived there.
No. So it's a very small
No,
area.
absolutely.
But the Bridge End people are very cliquey.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, if somebody dies in the Bridge End, like there'll be a lot of people at the wake and funeral and that kind of stuff. We say the same about the Glebe where I come from.
Yeah.
And it's not cliquey in a bad way. It's
a close-knit
supportive
community.
and close
Support-
and all that kind of thing.
Community spirit, I think
Community
is what you mean.
spirit, probably a modern term for it.
PC way of wording.
So, is there anything anybody would like to add in or throw in, or this is the point where you usually turn the thing off and say, "Now, is there anything you would have liked to have said?" So now we can pretend to have turned it off, and then you can because again, people go, "Oh, I should have said this."
We've talked about this before. Tom and I see a massive kind of opportunity here with local clubs,
Yeah.
community organisations to go, someone like yourself, to go with expertise and the equipment to do it, to go and document
Oh,
what's
certainly.
gone on over the last 100 years. You know, I just look at local sports clubs and the characters that they've had and the kind of successes and failures and how things have been built, and it's going to be gone. Like if we don't document it now, if we don't get this stuff down somewhere, no one's going to take the time to write it anymore. So it's important that we do this, which is, you know, this is the first time I've ever done so easy. Like.
Yeah, well, exactly. The other thing about it is too, as well, is even if it's current things as well too, Chris, because I know that there are people who do, you know, Facebook pages and WhatsApp groups, things like that. But sometimes as well too, somebody can just put someone on the radio, like people were talking before about Mary McDaid, one of the ladies in the group, and her son Paul is on Highland Radio.
Yeah.
So people will go and wait until 3 o'clock to hear him speak.
Yeah.
Again, there's a lot of localness as well too, so I get involved, a lot of community involved in that. But I do think as well too that there is a space within Strabane for people to have some vessel for which they go to for a podcast and say, well, I know this week this is happening. Or even as well too, you know, it's a bit morbid, I suppose, but you were talking before about communities and when somebody passes away, somebody come and tell a story about them. Somebody can say, well, oh, your man, sure, he was my teacher and he did this, that, and the other. He could be very funny, but he could be very sort of kind of harsh, you know, hard but fair. But you could sort of, or a restaurateur, or you know, you could always sort of, so you could have a bit of just simply. I kind of done a community radio module recently with the tech. But it was about news gathering, and like a group like this is perfect because you sit, and it's not even just the stuff that's happened in the past; it's stuff's happening now. So,
But I just felt that it was very natural. They're just sitting chatting.
oh, it's spontaneous,
you know,
absolutely, and organic, and all those things as well. Too.
So, and like they weren't put off by the microphones or anything like that there. So I
We
thought-
had them well trained.
Oh,
But even the story you mentioned there about the credit union, how did Shamrocks
Hurling club come to be.
Hurling club
Yeah.
come to be? Who were the people that were first involved? What did they have to do? Where did they get any funding? Oh, there's loads and loads of stories. Even the credit union in Strabane, even the credit union in Science. Somebody was talking to me about it recently, about the people who set it up, and I can remember some of them. And people give of their time
No, certainly.
voluntarily, and so many hours a week, and But I think in 20 or 30 years' time, there'll be people playing hurling with your club, and they'll not have a clue how it was set up. It'd be good to have it on record.
Absolutely. And as I say, this is happening week in, week out, and there's lots of people giving of their time. There's lots of people like yourself that are out trying to make the connections. No one will know in 20 years' time, no one will have any clue how these community groups or teams came to be. And I think it's really important. Now, from my point of view, that number one, we document it. Number two, we give the opportunity for people to be heard. Put that down on record. It's great. And you talked about radio there. Is there an opportunity maybe explore local radio and take this a step further?
Yeah.
Because, what are we missing in Strabane? We've got no consistent feed or consistent contact.
Yeah.
And even this group here, the Stay Young group, Bridget would tell us that this was set up many, many years ago with 6 people, and now we have a waiting list to join it. And there's days you can't get a seat around the table because there's so many here.
Absolutely,
And how many would be in the group?
There's about 20 if they were all here at the one time.
Yeah, we had about 15 today.
Aye, aye.
And then, how do you get on? You just put your name down for the waiting list, or?
Yeah, we've been quite lucky in terms of funding, but quite limited then by logistically, just because of transport and the size of the venue and stuff. So I would imagine you could fill this room twice over every week if we had the opportunity. The difficulty we have, as always, is funding and securing long-term funding and sort of being able to plan ahead, which is
transport is a big thing as well.
It's an issue for everyone at the minute. It's not it's not just exclusive to us.
Last week there was a crisis in the group because the scones weren't bought.
That was blasphemy.
Chris was foil covered and forgot it.
Chris was off. Jackie forgot, but she eventually went for them, but it was 11 o'clock in the morning, so that is our priority when we come in, our cup of tea. But if you think of some of the things this group has done, like we've done Bollywood dancing, we've done cooking sessions, we've done art, we've made visits to all sorts of places, cross-community, cross-border, all sorts of things that you would never have done on your own.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've had so many experiences through being a member of this group.
Some of the things as well too that I've noticed while I've been here as well too, that if somebody isn't in, there'll be like a quick sort of kind of questioning round the table. Well, when was the last time you seen them? And have you seen them? And, oh no, I spoke to them yesterday. They're away to this other thing. So it's not in a nosy way, but it's in a concerned
because I'll phone
way.
them then if
People will say
nobody's
exactly
heard from them.
Where is this? Is this person? So no, it's great.
That's
It's
right. We
fantastic.
know why people are not here, and if they're not here and we don't know why, we'll just
Exactly.
make a bit welfare call,
Yeah.
make sure they're all right,
Which is fantastic.
Aye,
Absolutely fantastic.
it is. Because a lot of these ladies are widows,
Yeah, and
and a
live on their
lot
own.
of them
Yeah.
live on their own, completely on their own, so they don't have many.
Which is also, I think, for them. I know Miss McDaid, because she was a neighbour. She is still on her own, and obviously the boys calling her out and stuff. But it's great that she still has that independence. She still drives. She still gets out and about, and the fact she comes to these groups too as well. Obviously, it just keeps people going because I think we've heard people say as well too about it's been the highlight of the week, or they can't wait till next week, or So this is a thing that you just keep on coming back to. It's a stable, sort of steady thing.
And Mary's lucky, and Mary has a lot of family nearby, but her sister Patricia has had 5 children, and none of them are around here
Right,
at
okay.
all.
Yeah.
So she wouldn't have the same
support,
family support
yeah.
outside.
Yeah.
So this is even more vital
Yeah.
to her. And during COVID, it would have been Chris's predecessor, Wendy, that was here. During COVID, we obviously couldn't come in then, but Wendy brought out, say, packs of puzzle books and stuff like that, maybe art equipment, every now and again.
Yeah.
And she checked up on everybody every week to make sure that everybody was okay. So
That's fantastic.
great
Absolutely.
spirit.
No, definitely. So, just to tie it all together, thank you also very much for giving me that 5 minutes. So it's great. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Tom.
Thanks for coming,
Appreciate
Tom.
it.
We really enjoyed it.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you again.